So as Vivek is getting more popular, he's starting to look a little bit more like Trump in 2015, and most likely he's going to be Trump's VP pick in the 2024 elections. But he has a few views that I personally think are a bit problematic for the United States, and the primary one is his stance on Israel. Vivek has said plenty of times that he believes that Israel has the rights and the means to do whatever they choose to defend themselves, however they choose. And also, he has stated that he believes that the state of Israel currently today is a divine nation. He did an interview with one of my favorite journalists, Jimmy Dore, and Jimmy Dore is very well informed on the current issues going on right now between Israel and Palestine. So I'm very interested to see how this interview goes, and so we're going to react and watch to see if really in a year I'm going to have to really sit this election out or not, because I am 100% comfortable with not voting this next upcoming election, especially if it doesn't fit my moral standards.
So let's move on to Israel. Here's what you tweeted about it. I'll give you a chance to clarify anything you want. You say now is the moment for Israel to return to its founding premise. The Jewish state has an absolute right to exist, a divine gift, gifted to a divine nation, charged with a divine purpose. Israel has an absolute and unequivocal right and responsibility to defend itself to the fullest, applying the only language its adversaries understand, the language of force. And what would David Ben-Gurion say? Don't depend on
This
anyone
is
else's
my
foolish
issue.
sympathies or permission to do it. If Israel wants to destroy Hamas, Israel should go ahead and destroy Hamas. If Israel wants to destroy Hezbollah, Israel should go ahead and destroy Hezbollah. Good luck. If Israel and Mossad want to pull off Munich 2.0 and take out every last leader of Hamas, wherever they may be hiding, from Doha to Dresden, and host a red wedding at the Four Seasons in Qatar the next time Hania and Mashal show up, they should go ahead and do it. So, and it sounds great except for the part of Hezbollah, but so we don't have to wonder what Ben-Gurion would say. We could just read his quotes. And let me just read a couple to you. We must expel Arabs and take their places. And if we have to use force, not to dispossess the Arabs of the Negev and Transjordan, but to guarantee our own right to settle in those places, then we have force at our disposal. Let us not ignore the truth among ourselves. Politically, we are the aggressors, and they defend themselves. The country is theirs because they inhabit it, whereas we want to come here and settle down. And in their view, we want to take away from them their country. Behind the terrorism is a movement which, though primitive, is not devoid of idealism and self-sacrifice. So, doesn't that kind of blow your argument out of the water? I just quoted that guy, and he's saying that we're taking their land.
Here's my view on it, and I wanted to let you finish that so I can tell you what my view is, and you can look at the totality of what I've said here. I have a radical revelation. I'm running for president of the United States, not for the president of Israel or any other country. And I know some people running for U.S. president mix that up a little bit. I don't know. I'm pretty clear about which country I'm running to be president of. And my view is, against that backdrop, Israel's an ally. Israel should be allowed to do what Israel needs to defend itself, and also to make its own determinations.
Yeah, see, here's the issue with this. Israel, through the back door, has stolen our nuclear materials to create nuclear weapons. Israel has, on multiple occasions, acted as not an ally, but as its own entity that likes to spy on its own allies, attack its own allies. I think that we need to investigate Israel's involvement in what happened with John F. Kennedy. He was very interested in what they were doing in the nuclear base in Dimona, and the restrictions that he was trying to have on what is now the ADL never took place because he was assassinated. So this idea that Israel is just its own country and they can do whatever they want. Vivek, what world are we living in, brother? They influence our politics through all of these different organizations, through super PACs. We can't get ourselves away from them. You can't just alienate yourself from the issue that is the Zionist state for America running for the American presidency. Can't ignore that because it's been a perpetuant issue for the last 40, 50 years plus.
Me being probably the only person in the GOP field that's actually been clear about this, we should not be getting involved in that. I am against the $16 billion or $14 billion aid package for this specific war. I think that's better for Israel and better for the United States. So my view is this. I think that Israel's founding premise is it has the right to exist. David Ben-Gurion would have said, without the sympathies of the West and without the micromanagement of the West. Great, I agree with that. I think that Israel does have the right to exist. I would stand diplomatically for Israel's right to defend itself. But I don't think the U.S. should be militarily intervening in this war. And against that backdrop, yes, I have a lot to say diplomatically in favor of what Israel decides to do. And there's a whole debate within Israel's own government keep in mind that not everybody in Israel's own government agrees with what they should be doing. If only the American press actually laid, I would say, the same type of critical inquiry of Bibi's own leadership in Israel that the Israeli press is. There's a lot of debate for Israel to have, but that's Israel's decision to make, not ours. And so I think we muddy the waters when we're A, engaging militarily or financially in this specific war, or B, trying to play armchair quarterback from any direction. So my view is, when I was asked about my opinion on what I believe of Israel, I love Israel as a country. I believe in Israel's right to
Right on the funding, wrong on the intensity of the issue, because it's not just something that we can ignore. It is a perpetuant issue, as I've said.
exist. I believe Israel is an ally of the U.S., and our job is to stand
You're wrong.
for its right to self-defense. But I'm against, and I think I'm alone, maybe Thomas Massey, in Congress or whatever, but in the GOP amongst the presidential candidates, I'm alone in saying we should not interfere in this specific conflict. Diplomatically give them the air cover they need to get their job done. Let Israel make the decisions it needs to make. That's better for the United States, better for Israel, doesn't muddy the waters, and that's where I'm at. So hopefully at least that's clear to you about my position.
Well, that's certainly a little better of a position than most of the people running for president, including Joe Biden. But
or RFK, or anyone else. I mean, I think, frankly, or much of the Republican Party, frankly. And so I think
Jones. Or Van Jones.
Yeah.
But,
I'm shaking that you said that.
And let me just clarify what I said earlier when I was reading your statement. I said that sounds great. I was being sarcastic because I want to show you when you say the right to self-defense. Danny Haiphong tweeted this out today. He says that Israel is destroying entire neighborhoods in Gaza instantly. So let's just watch this. So this is boom. So that doesn't look like self-defense.
Consequences of evilness in war. Look at it.
And
look what it does.
So do you
it
think
kills
that's
people.
what that is? Do you think that
I
is?
gotta confess, I'm looking at a camera, not at what you just put up. But I'm familiar with the kinds of images you're probably putting up.
Okay, so it looked like they blew up an entire neighborhood at once. And so you've seen what they've been doing, and you see the game that they're playing. They told everybody to get out of the north of Gaza and go to the south, and then they started bombing them in the south. They're bombing hospitals, they're bombing schools, UN refugee camps, they're bombing everything, and they're slaughtering. So self-defense does not mean that you get to relentlessly slaughter the enemy of your children in perpetuity, because that's what they're doing. So what would you say to that?
I come back to a simple principle. Yeah, I mean, I'm being lighthearted about a serious topic, but I'm doing it in the interest of clarity. I'm running for president of the United States, not the president of Israel or another Middle Eastern country. And I think part of what's happening...
That's a politician's answer, Vivek. That's a politician's answer.
Which the U.S., by being ambiguous, but being sort of half in, half out, and sort of intervening, sort of providing backing, distort the decisions that other countries make. And so my view is we should be clear. Israel's not the same as Ukraine. Diplomatically stand with Israel in a strong way, in a foundational way, as a basic ally of the United States in the Middle East. But we should not be intervening in this war. It's not our job to play global policeman. And I think that when I say that, that applies in multiple different senses. I don't think we should be further engaging in this war in Ukraine. I think that creates moral hazard for Ukraine to do the kinds of things that Ukraine otherwise wouldn't have done. Remember, Zelensky wanted to negotiate a deal in the first 6 months of this war before the West intervened and goaded him to fight even more. So my view is we're at our worst when we're engaging willy-nilly, waddling into some conflict. It's like sloppily waddling into some glass shop, breaking glass, leave places like Iraq to Afghanistan arguably worse off than they were when we showed up. My view is this. Diplomatically stand for our allies to be able to defend themselves. Israel has the ability to do it. There are decisions for Israel to make. There are risks and there are consequences of certain decisions they may make vis-a-vis their adversaries in the Middle East. Let Israel make its own decisions instead of playing armchair quarterback or backseat quarterback, whatever
You just repeated the same talking point.
Backseat quarterbacking, armchair advising what somebody else should do. My job is to take care of this country. And so I would tell Bibi, you smoke the terrorists on your southern border if they're threatening you, great. We have our own problem.
Is that what smoking the terrorists look like?
We diplomatically stand for your right to do it without the UN or anybody else, or the EU or the US for that matter, psychoanalyzing and backseat quarterbacking what you're supposed to do. That's what I would say.
So,
okay, yeah, let's use the same logic. Let's say back in the 1930s, right? We're France and Germany is going crazy and we see them going crazy. We're France. We're not worried. That's Germany. Hitler's doing what Hitler's doing over there in Germany. Oh yeah, how did that turn out? How did that turn out for you? That logic is dumb in my opinion. Saying, oh, well, there are allies, whatever that means. There are allies. They can do whatever they want. Well, have we ever done any type of investigation on Israel's involvement on September 11th? Because the qualification of ally, I believe, would truly stand in serious jeopardy if Israel was truly involved in 9/11. I just think we're at huge faults when we just attach the label ally to Israel. We've always had a specific network and organization organization, the ADL, go after people for anti-Semitism who would dare criticize the Israeli government. So I honestly don't even need to see any more. We're 24 minutes in and he's repeating the same talking points. My time is very valuable. I'm seeing that he currently is still not earning my vote, unfortunately. No one currently has earned my vote, unfortunately. So it's looking like I'm going to be sitting right here on election day next year, 2024. But I don't know. Hopefully somebody does get to Vivek specifically on this issue, and hopefully he can actually wake up and realize that he has a role in this issue as well to play as the president of the United States if he was to be granted with such a prestigious and important title. He would need to investigate these issues and not just push it off as our allies are doing whatever they need to do in order to survive. We're going to see how things play out. We have a little under a year till election, so we're going to see. Till next video, guys.